Hello, hello.
How are you?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Good, thanks.
Found your way up here, did you?
Barely. All right, what are you learning today?
Don't know yet. We haven't
A
decided.
couple minutes and then I'm gonna go out and eat. Okay.
So what did we decide we were going to do? Did you pick something out?
Well, I picked that card thing. I don't think we went on the website.
Oh, you didn't think? Was that supposed to help with that?
I don't
Probably
know.
not.
We have any choice you want. Like we can do landscapes. And so we can do a landscape. We can do animals. If you could paint anything in the world, what would it be? What do you really like? Last time we did a bird. What did you think of your bird?
It was okay.
I really liked it. She was less about it, but I loved it.
There's we did this bird the first week, and it was just, and then we did landscape,
Cool.
and it took 2 hours to do, and then I spent another 6 or so afterwards. We did this landscape the week before that, and so this was just one in the distance, and then that's book stuff, faces, horses, mountain scenes. There's another bird. It's a little angry. We did flowers. This one here is always a fun one to do if you're just starting out. And what it is you go online and you choose the animal that you want, like a bird or whatever, and then it's doodle. And so what you do is you draw it out, and we put a landscape just behind a thing behind it, and then you just work on the doodles over top of it. And so that's another one that teaches you a lot about the control of the pen and the way to do doodles. So it's kind of fun.
What do you think?
Just doesn't know. She doesn't know yet. Sunflowers, birds, horses, volleyball players, oceans. And so then when you talked about, let me just go here to the, so that card that I gave you just shows you all the different, on here there's 400 plus different images. And so there's all the different styles, and so like the doodle ones are a little bit more fun to do. The wildlife are okay. The merchandise one, you don't have to worry about that, but landscapes, flowers is another one that for some reason everybody wants me to paint flowers like my wife. So I end up painting flowers, lots of different flowers. Yeah. And so they're very easy to do. So something that like these ones here, like something like this is fairly easy to create. And again, it's just a background on top of a textured background. And so then there's all the different flowers. If you're interested in that, landscapes, we go from everything from snowscapes, seascapes, to spacescapes, oceans. This one here is really fun to draw, the one with the boat in it. This one here is also an interesting one to draw, simply because it's not difficult to draw, but it kind of gives you a deep feeling to it. Another forest with the water in front with the reflections.
This is nice. That order?
Yeah.
You did that?
Yeah.
Nice.
In Besborough. There's that restaurant downtown on, what's it called? Red Pepper.
Yeah.
All those pictures in there are all mine.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
neat.
so-
Yeah, man, my husband's there lots, or it's still there, Red Pepper, isn't it? Or
Yeah. They just moved
They
next
moved,
door.
yeah, and then it's
Yeah.
bigger, yeah.
Yeah, and so all those paintings, when they had that done, the person who was redoing it was one of my old art students. And
Yeah.
said, "Do you have any artwork that we could put up on the wall?" And I said, "So I have digital art, and you can make it any size you want. So yeah, we'd like 4 by 6 foot pictures. And so all right,
It's so funny, art and volleyball, hey?
Yeah.
That's
different parts of my brain.
I love it.
Yeah.
I like the beach ones. Those are nice.
These are all holidays. So when we're on holidays, I still haven't, like, this is the closest I got to creating waves that I liked.
Yeah.
And so I spent lots and lots of time painting waves.
Yeah.
They're so bloody hard. You end up with, they look like rocks half the time when I paint them. So, and then this was me laying in the chair looking up at the sky.
Oh, wow. That's neat. That's a good way to have AK. Get sun while you're looking at
Exactly. And drawing a picture.
Where do you go for holidays?
We travel a lot. Like, this is the place we go to for Christmas all the time is the Cancun Royal Resorts in Cancun.
Okay.
But my wife is just a travel.
That's neat. I love
Yeah.
it too.
She's got like 9 timeshares, so we travel nonstop, except when this stuff comes around.
Yeah. Lots of hot places.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we took a whole year and just traveled.
Nice.
And so that was nice. And I did lots of drawings and we just recorded what we were doing.
Very nice.
So this is the other one when we talk about doodles.
That's cool.
Yeah, simple to do too. And these doodles for me are meetings. So you can always tell how long my meeting was. So this was like a 6-hour
You're
meeting.
in a meeting?
Oh yeah.
Doodling?
Oh yeah.
You know what they say with it, like any doodling. Yeah.
Well, what I do is
Those
this.
coloring books, right?
I'm like this all the time.
Yeah.
And they think I'm taking notes.
Love your method. That's awesome.
Yeah. So I've most of these are meetings. This was another one that the polar bear up there. You know the one I showed you there with the elephant.
Yeah.
That's like this polar bear.
That's so cool.
So it's the same idea. You just you get the outline and then you just fill it all in with doodles, and it's kind of fun. This is another one that I do with a lot of beginning students.
Oh, I love that. Pretty.
And it's so much fun to do because it's just what you do is you just take the beak and the bird's head, the parrot's head, and then after that it's just like we did with the bird the other night. It was like,
yeah,
that's a hummingbird, but there's wings all over the place, and so.
That's really pretty.
But that's another one you can do. This one here, the face, is really fun to do because in our digital artwork, you have a thing at the top that when you draw on one side, it shows up on the other side.
Yeah.
And so then you can actually draw half of that, and you end up with a whole face when you're done. And then these two here, this is just straight doodles. But then afterwards, we used another program to emboss it, so that it looks like a metal thing.
That's so neat.
And then this one here, if you're a Highland dancer.
Cool.
Yeah, someone asked me to do it for an award for the national championship.
Oh, that's nice.
I don't know when.
So primarily you're like on the iPad doing this like there before, like did you paint before,
Yes,
draw and paint and all those things? Like
Yeah, so then this is painting, the one there with the tree. That's actually watercolor. I taught high school art, and so I painted. I used to do that for like 9 years. I did that,
okay.
and so a lot of as you're teaching, like what we're doing here, well, I'll say, so what would you like to draw? And she says, well, I like to do the Eiffel Tower. So then we drew the Eiffel Tower, and so we'd work on that, and she would start drawing it, and then I would just help her along the way. And so a lot of let me just go down here and I'll show you.
Eiffel Tower. I used to love that picture of the Eiffel Tower when you were younger.
So these are all watercolors.
Neat.
Like this one with that's a scratch board, the blackbird on the top there, the cardinal or blue jay. And so those are all paintings.
Neat.
This stuff is not, these birds down here are not their digital, but
Very cool.
so out of these ones, like the 2 birds on the left, that is actual painting. This one of the bird, the deer, is painting, but the other 3 are digital. Yeah, skills are all transferable, which is kind of nice. Like, so this one here with the dolphins that's a painting.
Oh, okay.
Like just.
Yeah, I love that dragonfly and that elephant and
Doodle stuff.
neat stuff actually. Yeah, now I'm just thinking about I used to have an iPad for my job, and I was like, maybe I should get it back for those long meetings where you're like, so usually like if we're Zooming now, I sometimes do emails and stuff because you can't see what I'm doing. So
Yeah. Well, and this is
that's
another.
such a good tactic.
This is another like doodle thing where you're just drawing, like just. It's just you start off like doodling.
Yeah.
And so when I did the bird, like what you do is you go into, I would go into something on my tablet here and I say I want an outline of wildlife. And then you go on here and you pick one of these. And then you doodle the inside of it. So if you want to do a dolphin or an owl or whatever. And so there's just a set of those. And so you can see all the different ones there. And you go off into images and then it will give you all the different outlines. And you can say, okay, there's the deer. So you could doodle the deer. And you see the one over here with the horse and the lion and all that other stuff. That's the image itself is a doodle. So I wouldn't use that, but you see the rhinoceros on the bottom? That would be one that you could do as a doodle.
So much choice.
Yeah. And even simple ones like that giraffe. It looks like a real juvenile giraffe, but what you do is you take that image right there and you take that and put it into your picture, and then you just doodle all on the inside, and then take the image away when you're done. And it ends up looking nothing like your original image because you're cluttered up with all this different stuff. So.
Neat. I'll let you guys decide. I have to phone Jordan and his call. And so I'm going to come back a little early, or you come out a little early because you got some other stuff, like homework stuff tonight. I know.
Yeah.
Quarter two-ish? Like that? Quarter two, 7:30, quarter two, or what time do you need to leave? You do your other stuff.
Okay.
Quarter two?
So,
Okay.
Mhm.
All right, text me if you're getting stressed out and you need to get home sooner. Yeah, a lot of grade 6, there's been a lot of homework in this class, this school. So, well, this class for class this year.
That's good.
Text me if you need to come a little earlier, but just, is that okay, like in terms of what you teach her?
Of course.
Okay. Just because if it takes longer, we can just stay out and just be up later. Mom's going to be up late working tonight anyway, so. All right. I'll just be outside because I work in the car for a little bit too and phone Jordan. All right. Okay. Thanks, Darren.
You're welcome.
I love all that stuff you're doing. That's amazing. Give me some good ways to hide behind my iPad.
There you go.
Oh, I'm not even. Oh, right here. God, I got to turn around here.
Yeah. So what'd you decide? What do you want to do?
So I have to pick one of those images?
Do you want to do a doodle one?
Sure.
Okay. Yeah. So then type in right into yours. Do you have a link there?
I'm just like in the sketchbook.
Yeah, but do you have internet connection on that?
I don't think so.
Okay. So then I need you to link up to this. So what I'll do is I'll give you my.
I mean, I have my iPhone in my pocket. I can just connect it to my iPhone.
Well, you could do that, and it'll only take like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
If you know how to do that, then let's do that. Because I was going to do the same thing. You're just going to hook up to mine, but if it's yours, it's probably already been linked up to it a couple times. And then you're going to type in outline.
In Google?
Yep. Wildlife outline or a face outline or something like that. What's your favorite animal?
Blue whales.
So we can do a blue whale.
Sure.
Yeah. Type in a blue whale outline. Or pencil or a line drawing. And then what it'll do is it'll allow us to go in there. And then I'll go find the one I was working on before because I was working on the elephant. Well, it's already up.
So I can just pick any one?
Yep. And then what you want to do is you want to save it to your machine.
Yeah.
And then you're going to bring it in and I'll show you how you bring it in. I can't see anything. So what school are you at?
I go to Holy Family.
Okay. Is it not Ukrainian, that school?
No. It's by Willow Grove.
Yeah.
How do I save it again?
So when you've got the picture up and running, right?
Yeah.
Oh, nice one. Okay, so then what you do is you just go on Pinterest. So do you know how to do a screen capture?
Just like a screenshot?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just do a screenshot of it. There, you got it. There you go.
And then I just go here?
And then you want to import it, right? So you want to go up there to that one at the top. So when you're importing it, here, I'll show you this one. So you press on that one.
Mm-hmm.
And then it'll ask you which drawing you want to bring in there. So go on there and find the whale.
Yeah, I did.
Okay, you brought it in.
Yeah.
So then you want to turn it this way. So turn it again, and then we want to make it bigger, right? So then make it a little bit bigger so it fills the whole page. Keep going, but you don't want to cut off his tail.
Like this?
Yeah, like that. Yeah. And then you go done. And then you want to turn the whole thing where it is now. Turn it so it's level with.
Like, do I go here?
No,
Or?
just with your fingers, you should be able to turn it.
Oh, I see.
There you go. Okay, and then what you want to do is you want to do just an outline of your own. So put another layer on there, and then you want to outline it. And so then you'll end up with just an outline of the whale. So just follow the outline of the whale.
Do I do anything here? Or?
Nope. What you want to do is, so if I'm drawing the outline of this, so then what you do is you're using your pencil, and you go black, and then you want to just, as it's drawn there, you just go over the outside.
Okay.
So then what I did is, like, you have another layer, and so let's say this was the outline that you brought in. So then I would just outline this simply by drawing along the outside edge of it.
Okay.
And then you'll end up with a whale, and then you can delete the picture of the whale that you have there.
Okay, so I just draw over
Yeah,
it, basically?
Just draw an outline of it. You just want a starting point of where you can start drawing.
Just like that?
Yeah. So you do it on a completely different layer, right? So then when you're done, you can delete the other one that you used as just as an outline, as a template, because you don't want to. You don't want to use someone else's drawing. And remember how you make it disappear?
Yeah.
The other one, so then you can tell what sections you've drawn and which ones you haven't. The other way you can do it is by turning that one down so it turns very gray. Not your layer, but the other layer. You know how to do that, where you change the opacity of it?
Yeah, I think, yeah.
You just touch on the original outline, and then you'll end up with this showing, and then you just pull that opacity way down, and then it'll go all gray, and then it's easy to see where you've drawn the. So if you're going to draw that line over top, you can see where you've drawn it then, because it's very light. Vibrates right up through the floor of that thing.
Yeah.
So what's your favorite subject in school?
I think it's. I don't really have a favorite subject.
What? You don't even like school, is what you're saying?
No, it's okay.
Or you just like all of it?
Yeah.
So do you go to school every second day now?
No, I go to school every day, but we don't have. We have we have 2 days where we have a break this week.
Nice.
So I did the outline, so what do I do now?
Okay, so now disappear, show that, delete, not delete, but hide the other one.
This one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you want any of that inside stuff? You may want to put his eye on there or something,
Yeah.
right? So then go put it back up and then put on the other stuff. Like put on the inner fin and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
The things that you would like to have continue carried over, put that in. So you didn't think the bird you did last week was very good? You didn't like it?
I liked it. It was pretty good. Yeah.
Sound like you're hard on yourself. The thing you have to get get good at is draw just for the sake of drawing.
Yeah.
I draw because it makes me really calm. Whenever I have a stressed out day or I have a lot of homework or something like that, I do a lot of drawing. And then I just avoid my homework. And then I get more stressed out, so I draw more. Then you end up failing. Then you're really stressed out, then you just draw some more. I'm kidding, of course you should always do your homework first. But
Yeah.
that's why I draw when we're on holidays, because I find it relaxing. It's kind of fun. Especially if you're doing one like these doodle ones, because you never know what they're going to be. that what you have now?
Yeah.
That's good enough, eh?
Yeah.
Okay, so then what you want to do is you can delete out the other one that you have, the
So
original one, yeah.
this one.
Yeah, you just delete that and get rid of it.
Yeah.
So now you have your whale that you're going to draw in. So then there's a whole pile of different things. Like you can see the different doodles that I have up on here.
Yeah.
And so this is the one that I use a lot of, and it's one where you just draw like circles like this.
Mhm.
And then the next layer is in between the two of them, and it ends up looking like scales.
Mhm.
Okay, so that could be one. This one here is the one where you just draw lines up like this, and then what you do is you go in there and you turn it into a spider web.
Oh.
And so that's just another doodle that I do once in a while. This one here is just the one where you sort of draw around the outside edges of it, and then you just keep adding onto that.
Yeah.
Okay, and then it makes a pattern. And then this one here is just like little boxes. Just a whole series of little boxes. There's just straight lines here, and so you can see, like I'm going to make those all disappear. Take a look at some of the different doodles I have in here. So you can see how I started with like the red one here on his hip, the red spider web.
Yeah.
You can see the way that's done. And so then what I did, since you've been sitting there and since you were doing outline, I just drew all of this, just the straight black stuff. And then what you do is you just take different colors. So I'm going to put some green on him. So I'm going to go really green, and then, sorry, wrong layer. And then I'm going to go in here and I'm going to fill in some of these with straight green to make them stand out a little bit. And then what you end up with is a very interesting doodles at the end of it. So I just sort of colored and all the way around like that. And then I'd go back to my black. And in here, I might decide that, okay, I want to put some lines just in between.
Yeah.
Put some white in it. So the white I was always using just as the negative space. So that's a spot in here, like in between each one of these. I just want white. And so then that's the way I've been doing my doodles. And so you just keep like, the other thing that I did, like see how big these are? You can see on the hip where the red is. What I did is I zoomed way in.
Yeah.
So you see how I was working on that. So I zoomed way in to get the details, so that like if I want to put in some different whites now, because we're zoomed in, it's easier to put the white back in.
Mm-hmm.
No right or wrong, just like when you're doing the hummingbird. There's no right or wrong area. And look, I got a white line across it. Why do I have a white line across my picture? So I have to fix that. Now, there's two ways you can fix this. One, you can go in there and you can erase it.
Mm-hmm.
But if I erase it, it's going to take away the background color too, right? So what I do is I'm just going to smudge it. So I'm going to smudge the other color over top of it. Remember the smudge tool we used the other day?
Yeah.
So then what this does is it just takes away for some reason I drew a white line across my picture. And there. My white line is gone. And then I got another white line up here. What's with all these white lines all over the place? Somebody's been drawing on my picture. So the reason why I like doing the doodles like this is because you don't have to think a lot when you draw them.
Yeah.
You sort of just start doing lines, like you see the way all these lines are.
Yeah.
And later on, when I come back, like this one spider web, the red spider web, is probably done. But you see this one, this part over here. Let me just show you what I'm talking about. So this part right here,
Yeah.
I would say isn't done. Like see how rough it looks? And so what I would do is I would go back in there with a pencil and go dark black, and then I would fix some of this because I don't like how rough it looks, and just make it look a little bit more finished.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So just start drawing doodles. There's no right or wrong, and you can just play.
Okay.
Now as I was telling your mom, I used to do this all the time when I was in meetings.
Yeah.
So it's because I taught art, I got so that I could talk, draw, and still pay attention. And so it allows me to have conversations when you're doodling and listening to the guy. I actually learned more when I draw than when I don't draw, because when I don't draw, my hands are busy and my brain goes elsewhere, and I start thinking about other things, and I'm off in space somewhere and I'm not even paying attention.
I wish I could do that in school.
Go off into space somewhere
No, like to draw. Like,
to doodle?
Yeah.
Well, it's not like I don't, every boss that I had, he knew that I did that.
Yeah.
And he also knew that I paid attention. Like it wasn't like I wasn't paying attention during the meetings. It actually found it easier for me to pay attention. And there's a lot of people that I met after the fact. I found out there's a lot of people that are like that they if their hands are busy, they actually pay more attention than if their hands are not busy. Because if they just have to sit there, like they're a bump on a log, they tend not to pay attention as well as they do when they're drawing. And for me, like I said, it makes me calm. I'm very calm when I'm drawing. Don't be afraid to zoom in.
Mhm.
So if you don't want it to be that big,
Yeah.
you can zoom right in on a section. So if I'm drawing like these lines that I'm drawing here, if I would like them to be a little bit smaller and more intricate, if I zoom in, like just see how I did it when it wasn't zoomed in?
Yeah.
And now look how these lines are in comparison to the first ones I did. Like these lines here are a lot thinner and a lot more detailed. So then I can go in and you see in comparison to these other ones, they look really clean, where these other ones look really like buckshy and done very quickly. So I might come in and just do this on these ones so they don't look so buckshy. I wonder where the term buckshy came from.
I've never heard of that.
When things look buckshy,
Never heard of that.
I wonder what Google has to say about it. That's a very buckshy kind of thing, way of doing things. Let's see if Google has something to say about it. Google, what's the definition of buckshy? What? Not backshy, buckshy. What is the meaning of buckshy? Bushy, not bushy, buckshy. What's the definition of buckshy? Busy, not busy. What the heck? What's the definition of buckshy when you do something buckshy? I don't know how to spell it. Let's see if I can do it. Buckshy. Buckshy. Bakshi, the definition of bakshi is something extra, obtained free, especially like extra rations. What the heck does that mean? Extra rations. I don't know what that means. That other definition made sense, so free.
Yeah.
It's free. You did that in such a buckshy style, such a free style. Look at that spider.
No.
Black spider. Can I see? I like it. Cool. Yeah. So you go to St. Joe's when you get to grade 9?
Yeah.
That's where my son goes.
What grade is he in?
Grade 12. He's done this year. Crummy way to spend your grade 12 year.
Yeah.
You wanted to play volleyball. That never happened. You won't have a graduation. And he only goes to school like every second day. Then he has homework that he has to do on the other days.
Our last day of school last year was like horrible.
Yeah. Sort of just ended, didn't it?
Yeah.
So when do you think we're going to be back to normal?
Well, everyone's getting the vaccine. So.
Are you going to get them?
I don't think kids are getting. Well, actually, in grade 6 you get your shots, so I'm getting my shots.
That's right. Grade 6 you do. So do you play any sports? Ringette or dancer?
Not at the moment. I like to play volleyball and softball.
Volleyball was always my favorite. Softball's fun too. I like that. Do you have a lot of kids in your family?
Well, I have 4 siblings.
Wow.
I'm the youngest.
So they all look after you.
Yeah. They're all way older than me.
So you're in grade 6, and then what? You have a brother?
I have 4 brothers, and
Wow.
my youngest brother is 22, and he's in university.
Still at home?
Yeah, but he's moving out soon with his girlfriend.
Do you like her?
Yeah, she's nice.
That's a good thing then. And you're the youngest, so everybody spoils you, right?
A little.
So you see what I'm doing with my doodles here?
Yeah.
Like you can see where I'm putting the white in. The lines are originally did in brown, and so I'm touching them up with some black once in a while. But I'm just sort of chopping everything up a little bit with the whites, because the white stands out really cool. And then I'll come back in with the black afterwards to fill in some of the spaces. So like the last, when we were drawing the hummingbird last time, we talked about using the colors that were opposite each other.
Yeah.
That's the same technique you want to use here once in a while to have things stand out a little bit.
Yeah.
And so if you go to red on the color wheel, then you want to go opposite that and find out what's on the other side of it, and then put that right next to it, and then it'll make things stand out a lot. Now, black and white obviously are two that will stand out a lot no matter what. And what you do for your background, what you're going to do for your background is you're going to go find a picture of water. So you type in your tablet, you go in just like you did for your outline there, and then you find a picture that is just water. And then you're going to put that right over top of it. So this one here, what I did is I went and found a picture that was just a sunset type thing.
Yeah.
And so then I said, that's kind of nice. And I drew this one, but you can actually put a picture right over top of it. Put the doodle right over top of the picture. So it's the doodle in the real world. And so what I mean by that is you go into Google and go underwater. And go images. And then see the one here on the left-hand side, this one here. So you can put that right behind your whale. And then you have your doodles, you have this right in the background, and then you have that right over top of it. And then that makes your doodle look really cool, because your doodle, the style of drawing a doodle is so in contrast so much to the real water in the background. And so it's like this, the sunset is like the whale, the elephant walking through the sunset, and then I drew that on and then put the little trees and stuff in front of it, so that he looks like he's just wandering around through the desert, not through the desert, but through the Serengeti or something like that, over Africa. And so after you've done some of your doodles, we'll put the water on the background just so that you can see what it'll look like with the doodles over top of it. I had my classes do these as an assignment. The thing I always told them is don't rush.
Yeah.
Like, don't try and fill it up really fast. Take your time and just take one little section of it, and then just take your time drawing that one section, and then later on get in and put something something that you think is really unique and different looking, you put that in. And like, you notice I have a planet on them on mine.
Yeah.
Like, why would an elephant have a planet on them? But that's just something I have on there. And the spider web, but then there's this one here that looks like a little sun, a silver globe with the sun on it. So then, remember we did the little light flash on the last one?
Yeah.
You remember how to do that? So then it was just a circle. I first did the dot being gray, and then I put the little light flash over top of it. And that's how I created that one. So later on when you want, I can show you step by step how to do that too. But I put a whole pile of those all over the place. How to do little balls. You want to see it? Just want to see the setting on how I did it?
Sure.
Went like this. And I went down to the setting that was not shapes, splatters. And on splatters, I chose this one. Made sure I was in black as I can get. Went really big. So 87 by 100. And then what you do is you just put one of those on there like that.
Oh.
And then that ends up as my, because I tapped it 3 times, it got dark.
Yeah.
And then I go on there and I find the one that is a splatter, the star, sparkle, that one. Put it as white, high up as white as I can, and then you tap right in the middle of it.
Wow.
Holy crap, that's too big. Let's set that down a little bit. That's because I had it on the biggest setting. And then it made that little ball with the flash on it.
Hmm.
Makes it look round. Now, every once in a while, do you see what I'm doing here?
Mm-hmm.
It's a change from all the other ones because I'm drawing in white rather than drawing in black.
Yeah.
So you've been drawing in black all the time and then coloring on the insides. Try drawing in some of the other colors.
Okay.
Because again, it just makes it stand out and be a little bit different. And so I'm going to try on this little, I don't know what you want to call this, ripples in the water. I'm doing it in white. I'm going to put in between it. I think I'm going to do it in red. Or I've already got the red spider web. Maybe the purple. Or something like that. This kind of purple, really bright. And remember, when you lean your pencil over a little bit, it gets wider. And if you want it to be finer, then hold your pencil straight up and down. You ever seen a blue whale?
No, but we've seen whales in San Diego.
Yeah, they in one of in the aquarium, or just out in the ocean.
We took like a boat and it was like a tour thing.
I went whale watching.
Yeah.
That's cool. What kind did you see?
I forget, but we saw some.
A blue whale would be kind of cool to see because they're huge. Did you ever swim with the dolphins in?
No, but I want to.
What happens if they don't want to swim with you?
So.
So you see that I just did all in the reds?
Yeah.
And so there's no blacks in there at all. And you see how it stands out a little bit from most of the other stuff?
Yeah.
Simply because everything else is all got the black outline around it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a blue outline on it. You decided what you want to do when you get out of school?
Like what?
Like as a job.
Oh, like after university?
You going to go to university?
Oh, yeah.
What would you take at university?
Well, I'm gonna go to medical school and I want to be a pediatrician.
Look after little kids, maybe?
Yeah.
That's kind of cool. How'd you decide on that?
I don't know.
You just like little kids?
Yeah.
Or you like sick little kids?
I don't like to see them sick, but I want to help them.
That's always a good thing, then. Felt sorry for a lot of the doctors during this COVID stuff. You have to be in school for a long time to get that degree, though.
Yeah, like 4 years or.
School's fun, though.
Yeah.
So you must be really smart.
I'm okay.
What? You can't be just okay. What happens if the sick kid goes, so are you smart? And you go, I'm just okay. Kid goes, I don't want you to look after me then. You're just being humble. Not a bad thing. When I was in grade 6, I'm trying to think of where I was. And whether or not I really knew what I wanted to do. I don't think I did.
Do you have any pets?
Yeah. We have, when I first got married, we had a dog named Willie. And he was a poodle because my wife's allergic to most dogs.
Yeah.
So he was a little poodle. Then we had a dog named Cuba, who was another poodle. And then we now have a new poodle who's only 2, and he is named Pete. How about you?
Well, we have a dog named Mika, and she's an Australian Shepherd. And we have a.
How big is he? Sorry.
She is like medium size, but they usually have like lots of hair and they're like fluffy. But she's like losing her hair.
How come? Stressed out?
No, she's all healthy when she's healthy and stuff, but like her, I don't know, we just can't figure out why her hair is like dropping.
She must be allergic to something there. Who knows, eh?
We have a cockapoo.
2 dogs.
Yeah.
Which one's yours?
They're our families.
Oh, so one hasn't claimed you?
I don't know. But when I try to pick Macy up, he's like, well, he's growling at me, so.
Mm-hmm. So how'd you come up with the names?
I chose Macy's name and my grandpa chose Mika's name.
Mika.
And then I have a hamster.
Really?
Yeah.
You ever let him out of his cage? Is it a him or a her?
It's a him. And yeah, like one time I put like he learned to like go on top of his like pipe thingy, and he jumped out of the thing. Cause like I have a bin cage and it didn't have a lid, and he like, kept jumping out. I would take it out.
That was probably a good plan.
Yeah.
Unless you want to sleep with a hamster.
Yeah. Once we couldn't find him, he was under my bed.
Just hanging out. So here's the other thing that I do a lot of. So do you see what I did just along this? Do you see the pink triangle?
Mhm.
These little, do you see how I'm just putting dots around it?
Mhm.
That just fills in some of these spaces that are too big. So you see around the globe, I don't like the open space. So what I do is I just put some dots in there just to fill it up a little bit and make it a little bit more exciting to look at. The reason why these are so good to do during meetings or times when you're on the phone just yakking with a friend or something like that, and you doodle, is because you can spend hours doing these.
Yeah.
Because you never really finish it. You can always just add something a little bit more, a few more doodles. You can zoom in and make it a little bit more detailed. So this is the third class that I've used this same elephant. And so you can see the first class I did, you see how small these doodles are?
Mhm.
I spent so much time doing just that section there because I was just playing. And that's what you're doing all the time. So you just continually add stuff to it. And even that area that I thought was finished, I can go back in and add some other stuff to it and make it a little bit more interesting to look at. So do you know what focal point means when you're talking about a drawing?
Hmm?
Do you know what focal point means?
No.
Focal point when you're talking about a drawing? So here's some art theory for you. Ready for this? If I have this whole elephant here,
Mhm.
I just drew all of it the way mine did. So there's the elephant.
Yeah.
Close your eyes, open them really fast. What's the first thing you see?
I think like the pink,
The part that I just did there?
yeah.
Okay. So when I do it, I see the black and white ear. So then the black and white ear then is what you call your focal point. When you have a doodle, it's really hard to have a focal point. But most other drawings, like when you look at, let me just save this one, which is something you should do on yours too, is save it. So just in case you mess it up. So if you look at something like this, so here's another drawing. So what would your focal point be? If you close your eyes and open them really fast, what would you see?
Like probably the white dot or like the lips.
Yeah. And so there's two focal points there. The white dot tends to be a light source, tends not to be your focal point, unless it's a sunset or something like that. You know how the sunset is really brilliant. And so on this, the lips would probably be the focal point, or the nose would be the focal point. The person that I'm doing this for said she doesn't like how red the lips are, so she wants them to be less intense. And so then she doesn't like the focal point necessarily to be the lips. And so let me just go to another one here. Well, the hummingbird we did last time. So on this one, like close your eyes and open them really fast, it would be the colored things, right? And that's, you've created the focal point there because you had dark and then you had light and the color. And so the color was your focal point. This one here, I did this picture on one of the other classes. This has no focal points other than the two trees. So the focal point is what you want the person's eyes to go to. And then the neat thing is that when you're doing doodles, there really isn't a focal point. The whole image becomes your focal point after a little while. And because those ears are so powerful, I'm going to put other stuff in those ears to make them look less intense. Because I don't want them to be that brilliant and that bright. So there's a little bit of art theory for you.
Mhm.
So all I'm doing is I'm putting some little scales on top of this white area, and then it softens it down so it doesn't become so brilliant. There's too much white and just straight black in there. So I'm going to put scales on them and soften it down, and then I'm going to put different colors inside the scales. So did you say you have 4 siblings?
Yeah.
So later on when you get married, are you going to have that many kids?
Maybe.
So were they, how many were in the house at the same time when you were alive?
I think my brother was in grade 4, like my youngest brother was in grade 4, and then I think my oldest was like, in grade 12 or 11.
That's not too bad then.
One's married and one's engaged.
Married, has kids?
Oh, not yet.
So you're going to?
Probably.
I think when I was in grade 6, I wouldn't even know what a pediatrician was. It'd be a good job though. If you could save some kids' lives, that'd be kind of cool. Find the cure to cancer. And the cure to COVID.
Yeah.
So that I can go back into the gym with lots of athletes. And lots of people in the art class again. I keep telling all my athletes and all my artists that it's quality, not quantity. So have you ever gone snorkeling?
Oh, yeah. In Costa Rica.
Cool. You guys do a lot of traveling. That's cool.
Mm.
Where's the favorite place you've ever been?
I think I only remember, this one was like a road trip. We went to Fernie. It's pretty fun there. My brother lives there.
In Fernie?
Yeah.
It's a skier?
Yeah. But I like Costa Rica, and like in 2022, we're going to Hawaii in February.
Cool. There's lots of whales there. So if you could live anywhere other than Canada, where would it be?
Mm,
You go to Costa Rica?
Maybe. I like all of like the seasons. So probably in like, Fernie I love, like, because you can ski there and there's mountains and everything.
Yeah, it's a nice place.
What would you go?
I like Saskatoon,
Yeah.
but I also I like the traveling. I like seeing different places. It's always nice to come home
Yeah.
afterwards. I don't know. If you can travel, then Saskatoon's a great place to live.
Yeah.
But if you have to be here all winter, sometimes that's pretty ridiculous. That bit of cold weather we had in January was ridiculous.
Yeah.
I read on the internet that the guy said he wants to live someplace where the air doesn't hurt his face. And that makes sense when you go outside and the air freezes your face.
Yeah.
Who wants to live in a place like that? But we do. I like Fernie and BC and places over there that's skiing. I like down in Colorado too. I like the skiing down there.
Yeah. I haven't been there, I don't think.
Do you snowboard or do you ski?
Ski.
How come you're not a snowboarder?
Um,
I thought all young kids were snowboarders.
I just didn't try it.
I'm a skier because I don't like to fall,
Yeah.
and I fall all the time when I try to snowboard. I've only done it like 3 times or something when we were skiing, and then I decided, okay, that's too hard. Too hard for an old guy like me. But all I'm doing is butt a snowbank. I like that blue. See what I did with the blue
Yeah.
blue line? It looks like scales, and that what I did is I went with a really light blue and then a dark blue in this. I drew the scales first in black, and then I just colored them in with light blue and then dark blue. And I'm going to try the same thing here with red and pink. So I'm going to go really dark red and then really light pink and see if it gives the same effect as that blue and dark blue. Mhm. Ta-da!
Um,
That kind of turned out neat, eh?
yeah.
So then I think I should do a green one next. Can I see how you're doing? Well, this turned out cool. It looks like a Scottish whale, with the tartan
Yeah.
kilt, a whale with a kilt on. So you want to try and find your background?
Sure.
Okay, so then go to your Google again and type in underwater. And then you want to do a screenshot again of that, unless you can download it.
Mhm.
And then you're going to put it in as a layer below the whale. So it's behind the whale. Sweet. Did you find a nice background?
Um, I think I was gonna use this one that like.
That I've shown you? That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so download that one. Or do a screenshot of it. And then you're going to bring it in just like you did the outline, right?
Yeah. Like this?
Yeah. But then what happened to the other stuff? All your doodles.
It's right here. Well, actually, like it didn't like it kind of went in front of it.
Yeah, so put it on there. Put it on, and then you're going to move it down afterwards. So you want to spread it out so all of everything's gone except for you want to stretch it so you don't have any of that writing or any of that kind of stuff. Okay, that's nice. And then go done. Okay, then you will have to put your doodles above it. The doodles. Highlight that, like press on it, and then just lift it up to the next layer. No, just go. Move it up to order. Just hold it, push it up. Even use your finger. There you go.
Right here. Oh.
Cool.
Okay.
Like it looks like the bubbles got air coming up out of here. Oh, her. Sorry, I didn't want to be sexist there. It's cool.
Okay.
So do you still have your phone hooked up to the...
Yeah.
So here's another thing you can do. So
Yeah.
on here, I type in and go images. And you can see some of the stuff that these guys put into their doodles. And what you do is if you ever run out of ideas, like see this Mr. Doodle one?
Yeah.
See the stuff that he has all over his? He actually draws little images in there. So he has little birds and other stuff. And so all of his pictures are like he does this whole house. Nice outfit he's got on too. But if you're ever stuck for ideas, then that's like if you just go in and type in doodles and then go look at some of these, then you can see some of the different ones. This one here has a little bit more of texture added to it. So it's doodles, but with a lot of texture on it, which makes them look kind of cool. But anytime I'm stuck for ideas on what to do for doodles, that's what I do is I just go in there like that and go searching and see what I can find. The bike must have stopped because the music has stopped. You want me to show you how to do one of those globes again?
I think I remember.
Okay. Once I finish this section, I'll show you a few other tricks here you can do. Okay, so here's a shortcut. So I'm on the library, and I'm looking under the halftones. And you see these different patterns I have here? So if you go like this pattern, and you decide you want to go black, and go to your setting, and you can make it a half decent size, then what you can do is just do this.
Well,
And it very quickly gives you a doodle, right?
yeah.
And so that's a quick way to fill in the spaces, and there's a whole pile of different ones on there. Like if you go looking under the library, like there's a whole pile of them. Like here's one that's just all dots. Now I don't like it as much as the hand drawn. The hand drawn I find a little bit more interesting to look at. But it is a quick way to put in a whole pile of different patterns if you're interested in adding things in quickly, or you get bored of drawing your different sections. the music again. They must be biting again. Okay, see that ladder I just did?
Yeah.
With all the different colors? What you do is this. You pick the outside circle and make sure that this is all the way over so you get the brightest color. And then I started with any spot on the circle, and then I went there, and then I went this far ahead each time. And then the next part, the next part, and the next part, and the next part, and the next part. And so then each time you end up with the different colors, all in the color wheel. So it goes from green to lighter green to blue to purple to red to orange, and then that's your color wheel, right? In a straight line. And so it's one way of doing something, doing a color scheme that is uniform, and people will recognize it, and it's very pleasing to the eye because each one of the colors is close to the one that's next to it. And then what I'll do is I'll draw on top, right over top of it, to give it a little bit of a pattern. But it gives you a kind of a cool little background. Colors. And I'm going to draw some lines on it. So I've got blue, green lines there. What is that? So how come you decided to take drawing classes?
I like art.
Someone in your family is an artist?
No, I just like doing it. It's fun.
So do you like doing crafts more than you like doing art, or do you like drawing better, or what?
I like painting a lot. I also like drawing.
So like watercolor painting?
No, just like paintings.
Okay, so then once those colors were on there, do you see what I did with them? I drew lines on them, broke them up into all little squares, where all those colors, like from the green all the way down to the blue,
Yeah.
and then I put a dot in the inside of each one of them, and then it makes it look like a little, like each one looks like a little piece now, rather than just one individual. It makes it a little bit more interesting to look at, which is what we're trying to do all the time, trying to make things interesting. So did you have an art teacher that made you like art, or is it just something that you did on your own?
No, I just like art.
But you've never had lessons from anybody or anything?
I went to 4 cats.
4 cats. That's an art studio?
Yeah.
What did you learn how to do there?
I paint. Well, I took painting classes and some drawing classes.
So when they taught you,
Yeah.
did they do what I did last week, or was it more like, okay, choose something you'd like to paint, and then they helped you with it?
Well, like So like it was like in the summer, so I like did it in the summer. It was like a camp. So like there was like 3 people and they had like different stuff. Like one person did painting like of something, and then like there's a sculpting thing or like a drawing thing or like something else.
Cool.
And like you can pick like whatever one you want.
And out of all of them, which one do you like the best?
I like painting and sculpting and like some of the drawing.
So what did you do with the sculpting? Was it like clay
Yeah. And then they would like put it in the kiln, like
kiln?
yeah. And then,
Cool. Where was this at? It's called Four Cats.
Yeah.
Did they actually have cats?
No.
That's a stupid name, isn't it? I wonder what their name, how they came up with that name. That was up at the lake, did you say?
No, it's by a superstore.
Oh, on 8th Street?
Yeah.
Across the street.
Yeah, it's like in like a corner.
Yeah.
But I think it's like closing. Well, like right now it's like closed.
Oh, COVID then. That's cool.
How do you save the portrait? Because my mom says I have to go.
Okay, up at the top.
Mhm.
Yeah, and then you go down
Like right here?
and hit what's showing there. It should show. You just want to go gallery, hit the gallery.
Yeah.
And then go.
Save current sketch.
Can I see? Yeah, that's gonna look cool when you're done it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I hope you had fun.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'll see you next week.
See you.
Thanks for answering all my weird questions. Okay, let's just go over here. Oh. Never like it when you have to see yourself. Okay, we are, the student I had to leave earlier. Excuse me. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to talk to you guys a little bit about the Anxious Artist and the program that I'm trying to put together. I have currently about 100 hours of step-by-step drawings of how to do different drawings that I've done in the past. I have 400 plus images on my art gallery, on my digital art gallery. I have a Google Classroom course that I wrote about how to draw digitally. I have live sessions like the ones that I've just done. I think I've got now probably 15 hours of those on the step-by-step method of drawing the different images that I have and some of the ideas and how to move through them and how to create them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start putting together a package that I will allow people to gain a subscription for to follow along each one of the steps. Now, the basis for it all is the book that I originally wrote called Drawing on a Tablet, and it's been on Amazon for years, and it's been a very successful book when it came to the introduction to drawing on the tablet. But since then, I've gone way past that, and I've done most of the images that I do now. I've got them all over the place on my art gallery. The reason I find, and I call myself the Anxious Artist, is because I found out as I got older that I was actually a very anxious child, and most of it I contained or dealt with by doing sports. And because of the sports background and being able to do all the athletics, I found it fairly easy to contain most of my anxiety. But it wasn't until I got a little older that I found out that you really shouldn't have butterflies in your stomach all the time. And I did. I had butterflies in my stomach almost my whole life. And I didn't know that wasn't normal until I got older, and then found out that I shouldn't feel that way. But I did find out that the exercise and the sports that I did were one of the things that kept me less anxious and helped me with my butterflies. And then I found that when I was in school, doodling was something that I did continuously, and I always had my hands busy. I have what my wife calls nervous legs. I'm always bouncing up and down. It drives her crazy. In the car, I actually shake the car when my legs are bouncing up and down all the time. When I'm going to sleep, I wiggle my toes back and forth. So I'm always in motion. And the drawing on a tablet actually allows me to calm down. And so I found that the drawing or painting or doing any sort of art allowed me to occupy that part of my brain, which allowed me to pay closer attention in meetings and other times when I was in school or just trying to learn something. And so the nice thing is that in my last job that I had as a teacher, or the principal of the online school, any meetings that I would ever go to, I would always end up with a painting at the end of it or a drawing I had at the end of it, because I had the opportunity to do work on my tablet. In most situations, the tablet for me has become my medium of choice because it allows me to create at any time very quickly. So if I had 5 minutes here, rather than me just sitting here and wondering what's going to happen in the world, in the day, or in the world, or in COVID, or what I'm going to do tomorrow, or something like that, and I would get very anxious, I would just open up my tablet, and I always have probably 15 to 20 drawings on the go all the time on my tablet. And depending on what I felt like, I would draw the elephant, or I'd draw something else. And so the thing that you saw me drawing today was an elephant. And that was just a method of me having something to do and to calm my mind. And so for me, it helps me with my anxiety, and it helps me be calm. And so when I was very stressed out, when I was working full time, and stress was a big thing, which I didn't know until I actually retired. But before I retired, I didn't know I was stressed out all the time, but I did use art then as well. And so when I say I have 400 drawings, I have 400 different paintings based on whatever my mood was and based on whatever I felt like drawing. Some of them are done in watercolor. Some of them were done during my time I was an art teacher. A lot of them were done during meetings. A lot of them were done on vacations, because art for me is a method of relaxing. And so I would be a very anxious person if I was actually trying to make a living on my art. I would have starved to death. And so the drawing for me is just a method of me being calm. And the end result is never anything that I'm proud of. Normally, it's something that I don't like at the end of it. I'm probably very unhappy with what I did, or how it turned out, or the mistakes that are in it. I can see glaring out at me as I look at them. So I have 400 images, and out of those, I probably have 3 that I'm really, really happy with. The other 300 and whatever, 97 images are not good and have a problem with them, and I'm not happy with them. And so that is the nature of a lot of artists, is they see the things that they have a problem with. And people always say, "Oh, you're an excellent artist." And to me, that is a term that is so unrealistic. Sorry, that's not the right word. It's so hard to define what an artist actually is. And so when you talk about that person is a good artist, or that person's a good artist, I don't know what an artist is. I taught art for many, many years. And for me, my definition of art is totally different than anybody else's. I think an artist, in my mind, is someone who can see something in their head, the colors and the pictures and the beautiful things I see in my brain. The moment I get to the point where I can take that out of my brain and put it onto a page, that's the day I'm going to consider myself an artist. Until that point, I am learning, and I am getting better each time, and I'm drawing things that some of them turn out, some of them don't, and I learn from my mistakes. And the end product is never the goal. The journey is the goal. And when you approach art in that fashion, you have so much more success and so much more good things from it, because you're not ever creating a single thing. You're creating a whole pile of different things. And along the way, you're just learning as you go along. And so the drawing that we were doing today, where we were painting the elephant, the doodles with all the doodles on the inside, each one element of that elephant, some elements are really nice, some elements I don't like at all. And so you end up going back to it and you continually work at it. The problem sometimes for me is to figure out when you're done. And so a lot of the paintings I'm done simply because I just get tired of working on them. And there's all sorts of different styles and all sorts of pictures that I've done that I am done simply because I'm tired of it and I don't want to do it anymore. That's why I say I have about 15 different pieces of art that I'm still working on. And because of the tablet and because there's no setup and there's no drawing that has to happen or cleaning of supplies and all other stuff, I'm not only an anxious artist, I'm a very lazy artist when it comes to cleaning up. And my brushes end up always, when I was actually painting with paints, would end up always full of paint and end up being destroyed by the time I was ready to paint again. And the odor that paints bring into the house are not conducive to having people happy about the studio that you set up. The fact that oil paints take forever to dry means you have to have a location where they can sit without being disturbed so that people can actually not have to worry about the mess that the paints make. And so for me, the tablet has been a godsend when it comes to me being able to I have a very busy life. I do a lot, but when I have 5 minutes or 10 minutes here, or if I'm in a car, you can draw in the car, or if I'm sitting in a bench in the middle of a mall while my wife is shopping, I can draw. If I'm on the beach where I'm trying to relax, I can draw. In fact, I have a couple of drawings of me that I drew while I was laying flat on my back, and what I end up with sky, and clouds, and a bird, because that's this position I was in when I was drawing. And I think being an artist or someone who works on art, you find yourself looking at things differently. You start to see some of the things that like, oh my God, that's beautiful. I wish I could recreate that. I wish I could capture that. And that's when I become the artist. When I think back to, there's a sunset and I see this beautiful sunset. I love the way it looks. And I'd love to be able to do a painting of that. When I can take that image that I have in my memory from 3 weeks ago and I can recreate it on the page, I think then I will become an artist. I think a lot of people now consider an artist to be someone who can look at something and paint it. And then I would consider myself an artist because I can do that. But I wouldn't suggest that is my goal or that's what I'm trying to do. I find that it's okay. I find that I'm really working on taking the subject matter that I have and recreating it. And recreating it, and it's a journey along the way. So it isn't one where I'm at this point, and when I reach this point, then I'm going to consider myself to be an artist. Selling a piece of artwork, a lot of people would say that's when you're an artist, when you actually sell something. With the 400 different paintings I have, there's a whole pile of them that are other people have said I really like, and it's always amazing to me when people say, geez, I love that painting, and it's one that I look at and I go, oh, I hate that painting. I don't even like the way that turned out at all. And someone would say, I love that one. The ones that I think are amazing and are great, I put them on Facebook or something like that and post them, and they may get no comments at all because people don't even like them at all. They don't even see the value in it or don't see anything that is beautiful about it. So beauty is in the eye of the beholder when it comes to artwork, and you'll never be able to understand what people like and what people don't like. And so it's a very fickle thing, and it would be an awful thing if that's what you were using to your livelihood, if that's the way you're trying to make your living. First off, no one wants to pay a large amount of money for a painting unless you're famous and it's a famous draw painting. Then people would pay a lot of money, but most people would rather not pay a lot of money for it. The flip side of that is I had someone tell me a long time ago when I was doing artwork, and they said, how much do you want for this artwork? And I said, $10. And they said, you can't sell your paintings for $10. If you sell your paintings for $10, that's ridiculous. Nobody wants to hang a $10 painting on their wall. People will hang a $200 painting on their wall, but they don't want to have a $10 painting on their wall, so charge more money. And so then that was something that someone said a long time ago that has stuck with me a lot. The other thing is never, ever sign your name to something that you're not proud of. Now, the neat thing is that when I go back to my paintings, some of my original paintings, I'm embarrassed that my name's on it, because as you go down this journey and you get better and better at the paintings, there's less and less that you think you should have signed. But people also should never buy a painting that isn't signed, because then who did it and why they do it and were they proud of it? When if they didn't sign it, would that be something that you would want to put up on your wall? The other thing that always amazed me is that people wanted a painting of what is outside their window, which I found paintings for me should first off create emotion, should cause some sort of form of emotion for you. Secondly, should take you to some other location than where you're actually at. But the number of paintings that I've sold of people's houses, when you sit in their living room and you look out the window, they say, well, I'd like a painting of that. Okay, that makes sense to me if you're not living in that house anymore. That makes no sense to me if you're living in that house and you're looking out the window. The other thing that I found very interesting as people started to find out that I was an artist and say, will you do a painting for me? Yes. What color would you like it? I'd like it blue. Why? Because my living room's all blue and I'd like a blue painting. It's like, okay, so the subject matter wasn't even important to them. The content and the whether or not the picture was beautiful or anything like that wasn't important. So a lot of times I had people look at one of my paintings and say, geez, I really like that painting. Would you mind redoing it in purple? Yes, I would mind doing it. And the nice thing about not having it as my livelihood meant I could say, no, I'm not doing it in purple. Sorry. I did this because it was something that I used to calm my anxiety and to make me less stressed out. And it's a hobby for me. So if you like my painting, you're welcome to buy it. If you don't, then that's fine too. And that is liberating when it comes to being an artist. I've done pictures for album covers for artists, singing people who sing, and you do the cover for them, and then they say, okay, will you fix this? Will you fix this? The problem, and this is the same problem that I have, is I can't take something out of my brain and put it onto a page, and I can't see what's in their brain and put that onto the page. So a lot of times there's a lot of revisions to an original painting that you're doing for an album cover. So the artist obviously wants something that displays exactly the way they think or shows their image that they have in their head and would like to create that. And for me, that was always something that I have been trying to, and the journey that I've been traveling on to become an artist is part of that, is that I have things like when I have, I don't know, a volleyball camp. What do I want the image on the volleyball camp to be? I wanted that to be something that I have control over, so that I see the logo as being this, and I want to be able to take it out of my brain and put it onto the page. And so that's always a goal of mine, is to be able to achieve that aspect of art. In the end, it's a hobby. It relaxes me. In the end, I end up with a product, which means, like I said, I have 400 paintings. I sell those paintings. I don't sell them, excuse me. I have them on a web page that people look at and say, geez, that's really nice. And they may purchase it. And so I've sold paintings all over the world. I've entered paintings into contests just as long as I don't have to be there and I don't have to speak to my painting. I believe that paintings should speak for themselves. And if someone has to explain what the motivation was behind that painting, or a painting doesn't make any sense to me unless I read the description that's written around it, then it's not what I consider to be a nice piece of art. For me, when I see something that I like, that's the statement right there that's important. I walk up and it's like, geez, I like that. I like the way it looks. I like the emotion it created in me immediately. And that's what I would do when I'm looking for a painting. There's paintings that when you're walking through the Louvre, for instance, or some of these big galleries, and people always say, well, you're an artist, you may want to go to a gallery. I want to walk through galleries, and I could spend hours and hours going through a gallery. There would be nothing in there that'll catch my eye. And so I've walked into galleries with thousands and thousands of paintings and pick a one. I really like that one painting. And that is part of what it means to be an artist. I think that the best artist in the world is Mother Nature, and the places I've been to and the places I've seen around the world are beautiful, and they are something that I have in my mind that I will create in time and put on the page. The ability to go on holidays, create a picture while you're on holidays, a view of me sitting on a beach. The number of pictures that I have of beach scenes are me sitting in the shade trying to get out of the sun, and painting with my tablet on the beach, and then finishing it up in the timeshare that we're in, finishing it up in my timeshare. And then that, to me, is more valuable than any picture I would ever take of that place, because it reminds me of that location. And so I was lucky enough to do a trip with my wife and travel for 10 months, and we went all over the world. And during that time, I created a whole pile of pictures in different locations that we were at. Not necessarily the location that we were at the time, but one that we might have just been at, or things that reminded me of that. Or as I'm looking through the internet saying, geez, I remember this picture, and it reminds me so much of Cyprus. And then I'd paint that picture. And that picture, even though it wasn't done when I was there, is the idea of what I had from Cyprus when I was painting it. And so for me, that's what art's all about. And that's why I call myself the anxious artist. And so thank you very much for tuning in today, you guys. And we shall see you on another time. I hope you liked the elephant drawing we did today. And so long from the anxious artist.